on principle, I kind of would prefer not to be relying on a child to come and save me, you know? I don't like having to rely on Rika in the event of someone threatening our life, you know?
We passed through the red arch and came out onto the shrine grounds, which were covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Watanagashi festival had never happened. So, where's the house they live in? Over here. Come with me. Renna took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, then looped around behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse. And they're living in that? They live in that? Do they have any parents that live? I mean, I know about Satoko. And please don't tell me they just live in this house alone. The lights are off. Are they sleeping? Let's knock. Renna and Mion neared the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I'd figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. In Chapter 1, I remember one of the tips bringing up that they were both very curious about rolling around on carpets. And start to see why. It was far from what I had expected. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! Are you there? Renna shouted up towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Mion banged on the shutters with both hands, and the loud sounds echoed into our surroundings. They would have to notice this much noise. They would turn on the light in their room, fling open the windows and yell, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. We're not going to have to force the door, are we? Or the shutter. Jesus. There was absolutely no response. Mion stopped slamming her fists on the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face. It's locked. I wonder if we can get in somehow. Renna showed no signs of stopping. We lost our log. I had to close the game for a bit. Let me check the recording. Just refresh myself, you know. Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so we'd knocked on the door, we'd shouted for them, we banged on the shutters, and now Renna's like, maybe there's another way we can get in. One would think so, if the door is locked and they're missing, you know. One would think there has to be another way in. Renna showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she would admit that they weren't there until we went inside and saw for ourselves. That refusal to give in gave me strength. The second-story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. Kei-chan, a ladder. Mion brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion held the ladder firmly in place for me. I'm terrified of ladders. In real life, genuinely, I'm scared of ladders. I mean, I can see a ladder. I mean, it's not like I'm visually scared of ladders, but if I have to go on one, I freeze up. And it takes everything in me to, like, climb or descend. Oh, they're awful things. I haven't climbed too many ladders. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed up one step at a time and tried to open each window on the second floor. Mi-chan, I'm going to go check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. Cool, we're alone with Mion and also Ren is alone. Great stuff. Ren had darted away. What? A main house? It's the Faraday family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. Ah, right. Rika-chan's parents. They passed away, huh? At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too? Satoko's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Then her older brother Satoshi-kun, he disappeared. We're opening up this time, fuck. This is such a fucking hopeless situation, like, for everyone here to be involved in. Like, there's no let-up every year. No escape. Satoshi. Heard that name before. I remembered. He was the one who disappeared last year because of the curse. Ever since then, Satoko and Rika-chan have been living in this shack. Neither of them has any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. Cheese. Rena said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? The curtains were drawn so I couldn't get a good look inside to see, but two young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried that at first. She said it was hard though, because it reminded her of her parents. Oh. I had no idea. Feel really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school that I never even realised an atom of this. Rika-chan and Satoko-chan. They have it hard, huh? She's cursed. Huh? Suddenly, Mion said something in such a low voice that it sounds like she was really cursing someone and I didn't let it slide. I turned around on the ladder to face her and ask again. Mion, what did you just say? I said, she's cursed. Mion, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head up to me to look me in the eyes. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. No! Mion's eyes clouded over, and within them boiled and bubbled a stew of chaos. They whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had, at some point, been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered on a dead-end street. Mion, you... Why are you making that face? I intended to follow that up with, you're going too far with this joke, and gave her a forced smile. However, on such even footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan as I desperately struggled not to let nausea overwhelm me. Satoko Hoju. She's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Mion answers, with a response to something I never asked as of replying to somebody else's question. The only people who fell from the park observation platform were her parents. Only her parents, who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. Then, she was sent to live with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and her aunt was killed on the night of the Watanagashi by some deviant who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere, and her head an entirely different shape by the end of it. Then Satoshi-kun, who always protected her, he suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear. even though he wasn't abusing her. The police judged him to have run away from home, but Satoshi-kun wasn't the kind of person who would do that. He was always earnest. He would never ask for anyone else's help. He would always drag himself through everything with hard work alone. He worked so hard, he nearly ground his bones into dust, all for his one and only little sister. And yet someone made him disappear. She was the only thing he lived for, and yet someone made him disappear. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was never rewarded, that Satoshi-kun. How ungrateful that child is. What? She is cursed. All who get near her suffer the same fate. The curse kills them, or the curse makes them disappear. She cannot have any relief. She cannot have any relief. It's probably Satoko's fault that Rika-chan disappeared too. It has to be. 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 It has to. It has to. Mion was mumbling words over and over that were no longer coherent. Her shoulders were trembling so hard that I could feel it through the ladder. Fucking hell. I almost lost my footing, which made me realise just how far the ground really was. Calm down, Mion. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth, and that rocking and trembling was becoming even more violent. Help me. The ladder. It's falling. Help me. Help. Just then, I heard the sound of many people running towards us. Oh, hey! Over here! I very nearly said help me outright. 4 or 5 adults led by Renner ran over here with flashlights. Let's take a minute. Is that really all Mion's thoughts? Is this Mion we're talking to? The one thing I can think of is... What if... Shion. There was a hint that Shion really cared for Satoshi, or she liked him. And then Satoshi disappeared. If Shion found a way to blame someone for that, she'd act this way, right? But then... What... I couldn't possibly explain how Shion would have replaced Mion in this scene, but... It doesn't feel... Mion cares about her friends. I don't think that's an act. Right? Additionally... Oh my god. My hunch was, very, very fucking correct that, Satoko is, like, the designated traumatized Blabo. I feel so fucking bad for her. And I'm also apparently correct that I would regret stepping up to defend her, because apparently everyone who gets near to her They go away. They die. They disappear. Mion wouldn't act like this. Surely not. Right? Like, I don't know. It was the eyes. Again. Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, sorry I took so long. I borrowed the key. Oh, nice one. Seems all the windows and doors are perfectly sealed. I was getting worried. When I heard Mion talking like nothing had just happened, I again felt a chill run through me. The person currently holding the ladder in place, it was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion Sonozaki. Then, the person muttering to themselves, just a few seconds ago. Who was that? The person who was mumbling about terrible things, like curses. Who was that? I jumped down from the ladder, as if running away, before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion a second time. The adults tried a few different keys on a keyring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first door. Rika-chan's house used to be a disaster shelter for the town council, so the key to the shutter is still kept in the mayor's house. It's Rika-chan and Satoko's private residence now, though. Well, this is on Rika-chan's property anyway. Nobody complains about it. Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal now, but that only contrasted all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang, bam, clatter, 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 bang. The shutter opened up for the first time in a very long while. Rena located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika-chan! Satoko-chan! If you're here, say something! We climbed a narrow staircase. It had looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. Somehow, the scent of the two of them filled the place. This was definitely where Rika-chan and Satoko lived. The first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. It's like a one-room apartment. Past the kitchen was a living room taking up about 150 square feet. Dressers, cupboards and the like were packed into the space, and in the corner there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the centre of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. The sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults, climbing the stairs one at a time, began to make a fuss and talk amongst themselves. So? Not here? Yeah. They're not here. This is definitely weird. The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. Then today, even Rika-chan and Satoko had... Were they out playing somewhere together? It can't be. The bicycles aren't here though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Oh my god. This is the worst case scenario. This is as bad as it gets. Well, I mean, I don't mean that literally, I'm sure it'll get worse, but like, this is as bad as it's ever gotten. Oh my god. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it, but the mayor, Kimiyoshi, disappeared yesterday. We can't say that this is unrelated. The adults' faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mai and Renner's did as well. Let's see. They could have gone nearby for some tea or something and then accidentally fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might just not be able to wake them up at all, too. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Makino-san, please go around to the houses near the stream. Keitaru-san, go look near Ojaga Lake. Okamura-san, you... Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation despite her age. We'll remain here and call up anyone we can think of on the phone. Okay? Everyone, you have your orders. Got it. The adults all roared in reply and pounded back down the stairs below. Wow, Michan. You're not only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa too. No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. I saw a man is using the phone. Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver and got started. Renner gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated, since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family successor impression that Shion and Oishi-san had given me. Stop right there, Keiichi Maibara. None of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure that Rika-chan and Satoko are safe, I agree. The situation with Mion is suspicious as hell, but we just need to work with it for the time being. And focus on finding them. Let's see. Couldn't there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room? Still though, I wouldn't know what to look for anyway. If we tore the whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there was nothing strange about this room and there were no clues in sight. In the first place, I had never been here before. They had just brought clothes in from drying. But the weird thing is that all of the doors and windows were locked tight. The shutter was closed. So, presumably, whoever did this... Let me find... Can we go... Oh, I don't even know if we can go back far enough in the log. Yeah, we definitely can. Renner got a key from the main house. I mean, she got in there, even though, I guess, does anyone live in there anymore? I have to assume not. No one lives in there, but Renner got in. Borrowed a spare, I have to assume a spare set of keys. And came back with them. Whoever came in and did this must have had some keys on them to get in the first place, unless the doors and shutters were open at the time. When they left, they had the keys necessary to shut and lock everything. Did they then go and put the keys back in the main house, or did they have an extra set on them? Maybe they had, well, Rika apparently doesn't go in there, because it reminds her too much of her parents. So, I have to assume that Rika has her own keys for the place, for this house. It's all weird, I don't know what it means. All I've done is explain keys for 3 minutes. In the first place, I had never been here before. There was no way for me to know what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiichi Maibara. Stop thinking and start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. If this was, If this was like an Ace Attorney game, this would be a full investigation section. Renna, unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was. Renna, I don't think you'll find Rika-chan by opening the refrigerator or the cabinet under the sink. I just thought they might be hiding. As we were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably people Mion had called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later too. We'll need to explain the situation to Oishi. Mion began descending the stairs, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There was already around 10 adults there, and all of them looked uneasy. I suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine were here as well, and they were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. I hate that naturally there's going to be so many people more concerned for Rika, and that to them Satoko is just an afterthought. Or, if you're creepy Mion, technically to blame for this, according to her. This is awful. This had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore. Mion-chan, is it true that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan are anywhere to be found? The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling them to calm down. First, let's check every house according to the town council's notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone else's house and totally unaware that we're looking for them. It would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she had eaten a good full meal and fall asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case. I don't want to think about this, but it's also possible something bad has happened. Mion's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide up the work, too. We'll go around to all the places we went to last night while looking for the mayor. We'll go around the damn construction site as best we can. You guys go search around the school. Right, let's get a move on. Come on, let's go. All of you are up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low on sleep, but please do your best. Got it. With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else had gone in. I was getting farther and farther from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared. Though nobody else would disappear tonight, it would take some time before I, as exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. Fuck. Suddenly, my vision cleared, and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there, and knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomitake-san, and then the mayor, and now even Rika-chan and Satoko had been sacrificed, and word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart. Renna would just be glad we did, and they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared, as if I were awaking from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me, following my knees. My arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration. Ugh. Is this my fault? Couldn't endure the burden of my own sin, and I had just told Rika-chan about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that Shion and I would have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were erased. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problem started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. Yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun! Are you okay? It was Rena. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back to make me feel better. This is all my fault. It's because of me. It's my fault. Keiichi-kun's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Rena was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoko-chan disappeared, don't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency. Rena had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we'd actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Rena would start to wonder about why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit that Rika-chan and Satoko had disappeared, but I couldn't let Rena disappear either. Keiichi-kun, if you stay here, out here in this wind, you'll catch a cold. Rena sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine. They told us that children should go back home to sleep. Rena showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been crawling around here for that long? If we don't sleep soon, we'll have trouble getting up for school tomorrow. Even the adults are really worn out, since they were up searching for the mail last night too. They were saying they'd break up a little earlier tonight. I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to search for the mail last night, but that was something that I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticise them for. It's alright. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's police cars coming into the village right now. Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there are indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. Sirens weren't railing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred right after the Watanagashi were seen as the product of Oyashiro-sama's curse, and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko too. Their disappearance would end up likely exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappear from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face like a western doll's, would fade away, Satoko's smile, her energetic, fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. Couldn't hold back the tears at my own sheer stupidity. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiichi-kun, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Rena out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Please, Rena, could you just leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. I had said that to myself in self-deprecation. But I soon realised that Rena was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realised I had misspoke. It's Keiichi-kun's fault? Why do you think that? Why? That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Rena said those things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of the Watanagashi, then even Rena would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Rena. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, then even Rena could disappear tomorrow night. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, but at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Rena, disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time I need to bear my own cross. Alone. Keiichi-kun, I know that you always have your friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. Rena knows, though, that it's not Keiichi-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiichi-kun, and I know that. You know that? The shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Rena to figure it out. This is bad. Now Rena will disappear. Rena will disappear. Rena will disappear. Then Rena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Keiichi-kun, are you thinking that Rena might disappear now too? Look. Because of Oyashiro-sama's curse? She puts more force into the hand rubbing my head. You don't need to worry about that. Rena isn't going anywhere. I promise. Why? How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. Plot twist, it was Rena. Rena made them disappear. Imagine that. Imagine that shit. She's like, I know I won't disappear because I'm the culprit. I'm joking to cope. I'm joking to fucking cope. I know she's got a side to her, but... No. I don't know that she wouldn't do it. I just don't want to believe that. You know something? I feel... If this is wrong, I'm going to feel like the biggest piece of shit ever, but... Okay. I believe in verbalizing my theories, and hey, I've been wrong about one. I'd love to be wrong again. Satoshi. Satoshi disappeared after Satoko's mother was beaten to death. Bludgeoned. Satoshi disappearing affected Rena a lot. And she vowed after that she wouldn't let anyone else transfer out. Rena has a history with baseball bats. Presumably, Satoshi didn't start acting strangely until after Satoko's mother passed away. So I don't really think that it would have been him. So it was someone else, right? Rena. No, but I don't want to believe that. It might not be Rena, but... Rena knew about the spare key in the main house. Or did she know about it, or did she just find it? She got it, put it that way. Rena... Rena wasn't concerned about her own safety in terms of, you know, the disappearances tonight. She wasn't worried about herself disappearing tonight. But she told Keiichi to wait for her. It could be nothing, but there's just a couple of things that don't sit right with me. She was in the bath when we called, or just getting out of the bath. I don't know. I'm just trying to remember everything, every little detail. How can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There was even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Rena. I don't care who you are. Just please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion, and Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. They must be planning to kill us last of all. They're not killing the first person who comes to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And then after that, after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. Hey, we don't know if they're dead yet, okay? Never say that until body shows up. At this point, as far as we know, they're missing. That must be what they're doing. Rana, please don't disappear. Please don't. As long as I'm still here, I could no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me. Come on, Keiichi-kun. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. Housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. We'll warm you up and calm you down. Rena prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead, stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assume they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you'd disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. Mi-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. None at all. School ended and they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, nobody ever saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what about me? I had spent the time hunched over in indecision, all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Drink this and let's call it quits. Is this... the end? Oh, no, of course not. Once it's bright out again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okinomiya too. People are even saying we should go through all of Shishibone City investigating whether there are any witnesses for both the girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry. I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticised for how inconsiderate I had been, despite being in so much pain. I was frustrated that I was being criticised, but it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful, either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved.
Oh my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. Oh, I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some.
We heard the repulsive voice of this fucking guy. I love that the game is now... I love and hate that the game is also now matching my hatred of this guy, because now it's making me think, is the game just feeding into my hatred? And is that a trap too? I don't know. It was Oishi-san. trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting the given situation. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Oishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face.
Well now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my taste. Oh, confound it. Would you all like any?
He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So have the police gotten a hold of any clues? Rena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup.
Oh, don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good.
He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush.
In any case, it really has gotten late. All you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be bad for your health otherwise.
Yeah. Kei-chan, Rena, get some rest. These guys get our tax money. They'll handle it from here for us.
We're taxpayers too, you know. I feel like a soba noodle chef eating my own soba.
I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Oishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't.
Yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around?
No, thanks. We came on our bicycles, so...
No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back.
We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Rena, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we'd appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realised that Rena's idea was extremely rational.
Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we?
Okay, bye. Good night. Rena, Kei-chan. Yeah. Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My unease, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Rena showed the police where our bicycles were, so that Oishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down onto a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on.
Ladies first. We'll start with our little Mrs. house.
Great, cool. So we get to be alone with Oishi. Excellent news.
Where do you live?
Thank you. My house is, well... Rena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep.
Hello? My Bara-san. You sleep back there?
Huh? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oishi-san was giving me light slaps to the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately. I'm sorry. I just fell asleep. Something was being held right under my nose. A clump of metal. It was a can of coffee. Jesus, I thought it was a gun for a second.
It's lukewarm by now. But cafe au lait is good even at room temperature.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're gonna need this coffee to stay awake for this nice long interrogation you're about to have.
Oh, thanks. I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat Awaken my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Oishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had at some point moved to the back. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realised I'd made a mistake. Today, of all days, it didn't look like I would be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oishi-san had heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go.
Nah, oh please, don't get all formal on me. I'm not gonna eat you or anything.
Don't say that! I want to hear about being eaten or not being eaten right now, okay? I'm dealing with some fucking anthropology that is quite taxing on the brain.
My Bara-san.
Oishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness. What do you need from me?
Need? Oh no, nothing really.
You're going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreadable man.
Well, I don't need you for anything. I just thought that you might need something from me, my Bara-san.
I don't need anything.
Oh, I see. Really? Are you sure there's nothing?
There was only one side door in the back seat of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Oishi-san. I couldn't get away. This is, like, extremely fucked up, and I hate it. Like, this is just not really very nice at all. God. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Oishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. The cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite.
Here I was sure that you had something you wanted to talk to me about.
Oishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Oishi-san know? What did he know? And what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, would Oishi-san disappear too? Fucking promise? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in his case.
I wonder how all this ended up happening.
Oishi-san addressed me in a low tone, as if he was talking to himself. How all this ended up happening. How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know.
You know, Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san, right? I know you do because I personally witnessed you with them during the festival, along with Shion Sonozaki-san. Do you know how Tomitake-san and Takano-san are doing now? They've actually, well, passed away. They met very untimely deaths.
Oishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew, and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected, which in and of itself is going to be useful for him, to be clear.
What's this? Did you already know?
Unfortunately, for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes.
Oh, so then did you also know? The reason Tomitake-san and Takano-san were cursed like that? People are saying that apparently they went into some forbidden building.
Well, technically, Tomitake only broke into the building. He didn't actually go in there himself. But you know, that's probably just as guilty. The storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed sealing away Hina Mizawa's blood-stained past. Where the mistake that started it all happened.
You know about the rumors? Say the mayor and Rika Furude-san were cursed because of that too?
That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. Oh, yep. He's gonna feed us just the bare minimum amount of information needed for us to freak the fuck out and not explain that it's because of the lock. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did.
Oh, what did they call it? The ritual storehouse? Well, they're saying it was bad luck. The lock to it had been replaced by a simpler one, which made it easier for thieves to get inside.
Oh shit, wait, are we finding out about this? What? This was news to me.
Until last year, it apparently had these big bars and a huge padlock on it. I mean, you know, ever since the priest and his wife passed away, Rika Furude-san has been managing the place, right? Apparently, she talked to the mayor saying she wanted them replaced with a lighter, more simple padlock because the bars were too heavy for her.
I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about, but the lock had certainly been a simpler one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and it really didn't fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like.
Oh, Rika-san is a small girl after all. The bars were heavy with rust and, they must have caused her a lot of trouble. So the mayor hired a craftsman and replaced the lock with a simple padlock so she could open it with a key.
Oh god, who the fuck was that craftsman? Because he's in trouble too. Huh. So, how does that mean it was bad luck?
Oh, here's what I'm saying. Thieves couldn't get in with the old tight lock. The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own, so thieves...
Oh, pardon me, got the hiccups.
The mayor and Rika-san replaced it with a cheap lock and key on their own, so thieves broke into it. Apparently, that's how it's going down.
That explanation's a bit...
Oh, letting that slide. Certain members of the village... Letting that slide. Certain members of the village delivered punishment upon the thieves who stole into the ritual storehouse, as well as the mayor and Rika-san who changed the lock. At least, those are the whispers that seem to be going around. My Bara-san, what do you think?
What do I think? I don't know really what you mean by certain members of the village.
Are you familiar with the three families? Representatives from each of them gave short addresses at the Watanagashi Festival's opening ceremony. Did you see them?
I came partway through the festival, so I don't really...
No, the three families are the three oldest families in Hinamizawa. But to give actual names, the Kimiyoshi family, the Sonozaki family, and the Furude family. They each have quite the lineage, it seems. Long ago, it's said that everything in the village was decided by a council of three families.
Need a drink. Whenever Oishi's doing his long spiels, I have to drink more. Probably means it's a voice I shouldn't do, if it's actually taxing on my throat, but you know.
The Kimiyoshi family. Old man Kimiyoshi, meaning the mayor's family. The Sonozaki family was Mion's.
So the Furude family...
Oh, wait. Oh, this is all your internal dialogue. I'm sorry, I'm getting in your head, aren't I? I'm very good at interrogating.
So the Furude family was Rika-chan's family then?
After the war, the Sonozaki family quickly expanded their influence. Practically speaking, after leading the fight against the construction during the dam conflict, they jumped to the top of the hierarchy in Hinamizawa. You see, though, in accordance with the old ways, they still decide important village matters only after consulting with the three families. That's why the leaders of the three families each have their own address at the start of Watanagashi. In other words, the mayor, the old lady currently in charge of the Sonozaki family, and the last remaining member of the Furude family, Rika-san.
Rika gives a speech, like an address at the start? I didn't know that. I heard that the Sonozaki family was pretty high up there. So Rika-chan's family was just as old?
Well, as you're aware, she has no relatives at all. In reality, the Furude family holds pretty much no influence. However, it seems like people gravitate towards Rika-san on a personal level, and I hear that many of the village's elderly have blind faith in her.
It was certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma among the elderly. So, what are you telling me about all this Three Families stuff for? Oishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette.
I've explained explained a lot. Suppose it's still not enough.
I'm asking because I don't understand. Oishi gave me a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke. I fucking hate you, man. I hate you so much. Stop giving me lung cancer and just tell me what you need me to know and what you need to know in turn. Let's get to the fucking point. Okay, enough of this softening up, you know?
Members of the three families, they're disappearing one after the other.
I had kind of silently picked up on this. What if the pattern is not that it's to do... Well, no, because... Well, no. Tomitake and Takano disappeared, you know. Well, they were killed. But in terms of the disappearances, the Maya went missing and Rika went missing. Obviously, we know the link there is due to... what's it called? The... Fuck. Oh, I just taught myself into a fucking conclusion in my head. Okay, let me get you up to speed. Obviously, we know that Rika and the Maya Kimiyoshi, disappeared because they were related to the lock being replaced. Is Oishi proposing that the next target is going to be a Sonozaki? And if so, Shion is in so much fucking danger. She doesn't live in the fucking surveilled house that Mion lives in. She doesn't have that same protection, and she broke him. Shion's next to go, isn't she? And then it's just Keiichi having to deal with that shit. And what do you even do? Do you tell Shion, like, I think you're going to disappear tomorrow night, by the way, just a heads up, the theme, you know, the pattern's farming, and it ain't looking good for you, Shion. It ain't looking good.
Members of the three families are disappearing one after the other. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that it's based on some kind of old traditions inherent in Hinamizawa, but I don't really know much beyond that.
I don't know anything about it either.
That's why I'm asking. The leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Furude families have disappeared, so maybe the leader of the Sonozaki family will disappear next.
Oh, the lady. I mean, that would be impressive. If so, she lives in a highly surveilled place, and here's this way, it's like,
she was the one who hired the craftsman, who, by the way, was electrocuted to death at some point last year. Well, that's just a random idea bouncing around in my head at the moment. Just kidding, really.
the leader of the Sonozaki family? Who is it?
Well, the current leader is the old lady at their main house, but it wouldn't be incorrect to say that practically all the rights of leadership have been transferred to her granddaughter, Mion-san.
The visage of Mion giving prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung to mind. Fuck. That's different to my conclusion, and somehow a little bit worse. Either way, I guess it feels like the next target is going to be either Mion or Shion, which fucking stinks. Mion? She's gonna disappear? I hadn't even thought of that possibility. All my hair stood on end. That's insane!
Nobody wants that, right?
Of course not. We can't allow that. Clamp. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands.
Then help us, my Bara-san. If there's anything you've noticed about Mion Sonozaki lately, please tell me.
I don't think you're acting entirely honestly right now, Oishi. I think you just want as much fucking information as you can get. I hate this, because, like, I want to believe that this person in a position of influence is genuinely concerned about Mion, but I just have this gut feeling that he's just a sleazy, fucking greasy piece of shit who's obsessed with solving this mystery and is going to try and bait information out of me. Out of a concern, out of baiting information out of Keiichi, taking advantage of the concern he has for his friend. And that's just fucking repulsive, man, if that is the case. I think it is the case, and even if it's not, that's fucking Oishi's fault for fucking giving himself such a fucking reputation of just disgrace. I was going along with him. By the time I realised that it was too late, Oishi-san brought his face in almost close enough to ram me, waiting for my next words. There's pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat.
Hello? Yep, loud and clear.
I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could use this opening to escape.
I see. Yes, alright. Let's head back then.
What did he just hear? I have a horrible fucking feeling, man. You know what my horrible feeling is? If the pattern is that the leaders of the three houses are disappearing, where does Satoko fall into this? What will happen to her?
Yes. Okay.
Apparently he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be freed, the tension in my body dissipated all at once.
It looks like I need to get going. Well, we were just getting to the good part, too. Oh, that's too bad.
Oishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around the front to the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave?
You really care about your friends, my Bara-san. An admirable trait for a kid to have in this day and age. I totally understand that it feels like you'd be betraying them if you told the police anything. My Bara-san, it's the middle of the night, so get a good night's sleep and then think about it. Just a little bit of courage from you might end up being what saves many of your friends in the end.
Many? Did he want to say that the sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko?
You know this already. But every night since the Watanagashi, something has happened. In the past, the curse only occurred once per year. But this time it's been going on for days. What a prosperous year this has been.
I don't think you can call that prosperous.
The night before last night, and now today. Oh, there's no proof that something will happen tomorrow night as well. It's our job to prevent such things before they happen, but for that we need your cooperation, my Bara-san.
I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. Well, we're a person of interest in the whole Takano and Tomitake thing. Rena isn't, so it makes sense that he's probably got our file. I was too sleepy to care.
Well, you're probably tired. It's already 3 in the morning. Please, get yourself a good rest.
Yes, sir. I'll be going now. When I was about to get out of the truck, as if to deliver a parting blow, Oishi-san said in a raised voice,
I'll be coming by every day until you feel like talking, alright? I don't believe forcing you to confess in an interrogation room is really in fashion these days.
I couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Oishi-san's truck drove off. Hey, he took my fucking bike! I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. Then walked over to the staircase. That was where I lost consciousness. This fucking blows, man. This sucks. Oh, God. Empty-handed. Go home already. And we have 4 whole new tips to enjoy. Alright. Scrapbook page 9. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryu Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryu Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter, Mion. But it's rumoured that it has to do with the disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. The disownment of her daughter and son-in-law? Say... I mean, I don't know. They aren't fucking Satoko's parents or some shit, are they? That would be silly. But I don't know anymore, man. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. Hey, she fucking locked in for the search. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Okay. Alright. I don't know. I've not even had time to think about what was going on with Mion at the ladder. Like, I don't know. Yes. The postal worker hasn't seen anything either. The Sonozaki main house has their seal hanging from their mailbox, so that anyone can stamp their mail or parcels with it and drop it in.
Oh, that's rather careless of him. So when was she last seen?
She was last seen at the Watanagashi opening ceremony greetings. She apparently returned home right after that.
Well, she is pretty old. From what I've heard, she goes out a few times a week to take lessons, right? Have you found anything out about that?
Every Monday she goes to the assembly hall to practice the Tashogoto. Taishogoto, but what is that? Nagoya Harp. Oh wow, it's very cool looking. She didn't go this week.
Any, what the fuck? Any cause to say she wasn't going to be there? Has anyone confirmed it?
No, nobody. She apparently takes days off once in a while though, so nobody thought it was strange.
But tomorrow, why don't we pretend we're at a town hall and call around 10 o'clock? Please figure out whether she's at home.
10 o'clock. Got it. Ever since it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this, he'd been keeping a careful eye on the 3 families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furude family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryu Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. I remember in that phone call we got a little bit ago, Mion phoning the Kimiyoshi girl. She did say, I can I can get my grandma on the phone if you need confirmation. Which indicates that she is still about, but she's not been seen or heard from for a few days. That's very, very curious, for sure. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she... According to Mion Sonozaki, she had fallen ill and was sleeping it off.
I wonder if she's really sleeping. Oh, I'd like to look at her face. And her pulse.
You can say that again. The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke. Oishi-san, about the search warrants for the Sonozaki main home and the Furude shrine. Do you think we'll get them? Oishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now as foggy as his mind. We never got back to Shion, did we? Scrapbook page 10. The hidden demon. What the fuck do you mean, man? Isn't there enough going on already? The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point. We can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name. Oryu is written with the character of that. I see, it is in there. God, this is fucking cool. This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains that in her name, with Mion being written as that. Yes, Shion doesn't. This feels like, if I knew this language, I'd be fucking investigating every single name I could. Trying to find that symbol in any name I can. It also goes for Oryu's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as that, though it was changed afterwards to similar but without that symbol, I guess. Still read as Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the Mayor Kichiro's name, originally read demon, which can also be read as Ki. It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of it. If you write it in reverse and top to bottom as that, it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters as that. Oh, I wish I knew this language, because I bet you could look at some fucking family names and find out something deeply concerning. I sure as shit ain't looking it up, because, like, that's how I go to fucking Spoiler Town. But I bet you, if I had access to all of those family names and those, like... Oh my god. In all those characters, discover something, I'm sure of it, I'm certain of it. I think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character became that is used in their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written in this way, I can't find any reference to that character, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony. So I think that instead, they included the contents of that ceremony into the last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono, written as this, probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by 4 sides. That's... you're pushing your luck there. I think, in other words, that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Fuck. As much of a stretch as it seems, a lot of the other shit that I've been hearing has kind of come true. Request denied. I'm back.
How'd it go? Do you find any clues?
The officers shook their heads in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of Watanagashi.
Chief, let the youngest of us take a nap, then switch 'em out. We've got a long stretch ahead of us after all. But let's not push ourselves too hard. We'll rest up so we can take it easy as we go.
I've been telling them to sleep in shifts. Nobody actually seems willing to sleep, though. Could you tell them yourself, Oishi-san?
Oh my. Oh, you don't need to force yourselves. Komiyama-kun, please let everyone sleep in shifts, starting with the youngest.
Komiyama-san, please do that. After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat.
So, Chief, still no good on our request.
It's just a rumour along the villages in the first place, you know. It's going to be difficult without more concrete evidence.
Even when that evidence might be tucked away in there?
We need evidence that evidence is tucked away in there.
Chief, don't start speaking in riddles to me now. We have witnesses that say 4 people, including the 2 who died, went into the forbidden ritual storehouse without permission. Oh, this is all reliable information.
What witnesses? What do you mean we have witnesses? You might call it information, but they're really only rumours. They're not concrete evidence.
Well, it's true that we don't have any pictures of the 4 of them sneaking in with cloth tied around their heads. Anyway, those 4 saw something inside the storehouse. Something important enough that they'd be erased.
Important enough that they'd be erased? What would that be exactly?
That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go look in the first place. Anything pointing out the Sonozaki family's connection to violent organizations would be a major contender. Like a pile of tokarevs or a secret poppy production facility. The secret Sonozaki family fortune would also be pretty difficult to discard.
Look, Oishi-san, I know how you feel. However, that storehouse is a sacred building belonging to the Furude Shrine. We need to have proper consideration for the locals while dealing with it. I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down? Anyway, as long as we don't have suitable evidence, we won't get a search warrant for the storehouse. That goes for the Sonozaki main house too. Especially considering that's the jurisdiction of both Section 4 and the Prefectural Police's Crime Prevention Division. We need careful preparations first.
Well, if you say you need preparations, then why don't you just let me talk with him directly? Shige-chan is the head of Section 4, right? Oh, for crime prevention, it's Sankei-san. Oh, they seem like they'd be quicker to talk if I sat them down at a mahjong table.
Chief, you have a visitor. Yikes. Pushing the employee who guided him right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member given his crested kimono and hakama. Did he not get enough of this over the phone? I am Congressman Sonozaki. I demand to know who's responsible for this. This instant. Hello, I am the Division Chief Takasuki. I don't need your name. I could have you demoted on a whim. You wouldn't even be enough. Bring out the one called Oishi or whatever. He deserves punishment for requesting a search warrant on the sacred Furude Shrine. I sincerely apologize. Oishi-san is currently out on investigation, and he's been difficult to contact. I'll take his place and hear you out. So please, have a seat. The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in a nap room.
Listen here! The Furude Shrine spent 2,600 years under the imperial calendar, and 2,500 more beyond that. It is sacred, a sanctuary that must never be defiled. The 800,000 gods, Oyashiro-sama, and the spirits of our ancestors are enshrined there. The holy shrine protects Hinamizawa from when the sun comes up to when it sets, and from when the moon rises to when it falls. Who is the idiot that wanted to set foot in there? Besides the right to religion, is the most revered right of the people in this country in the Constitution. You dare to be so bold as to sully that using your own investigation's negligence as pretext? I cannot, I will not allow it. Are you listening, you lying scum? I'm angry now, so you're not getting off the hook that easily.
Maybe we shouldn't be honest about having snuck in there like a bunch of fucking idiots, you know? Might not be a good move, after all. Well. This is awful. This is fucking dreadful. I can't fucking bear this shit for much longer. I'm going to stop because, throat hurt. But I think I've made most of my thoughts pretty clear. Two children are fucking missing. This is awful. This is really, really awful. It's kind of just hit me properly now. Two children. What is going on?